at the U.S.-Canada Rainbow Bridge border crossing. The FBI is investigating. Authorities in Hallettsville are asking the public for help in locating this suspect. He's wanted in a robbery. And Victorians are giving back on Thanksgiving Day in 2 area dinners.
We had a lot of sunshine today, but tomorrow may be a little different. You see all this cloud cover, it's rolling up into our area, and this rain activity in the valley is going to be drifting up. Not a big rain, but a little sloppy tomorrow morning. We'll be talking more about that and take a look at the rest of the week coming up in a moment.
And the regional semifinals are right around the corner, and we have 9 teams left. We have a preview in sports.
You're watching 25 News now at 10. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Don Brubaker. Karina Garcia has the night off. Today at noon, Victoria Police made a traffic stop on a vehicle near the 900 block of Ball Airport Road. During the stop, a man inside the vehicle shot himself with a handgun. EMS transported the man to a local hospital where he later died of the self-inflicted gunshot wound. The Texas Rangers are conducting a joint investigation into this incident. There is no danger to the public. Hallettsville police are looking for 22-year-old Morris Cooper. He's from Yoakum and wanted on charges of aggravated robbery. Morris has ties to Hallettsville, Yoakum, and LaGrange. Morris is presumed armed and dangerous. Authorities are investigating an explosion on the Rainbow Bridge near Niagara Falls on the U.S. side. Police say 2 people are dead, and they're now looking into what may have caused this.
A massive police presence at the U.S.-Canada border along the Rainbow Bridge near Niagara Falls. FBI agents leading the investigation into a fatal explosion on the U.S. side.
Anytime a piece of infrastructure as important to Canada and the United States, like a border crossing, sees this kind of violent circumstance, it's a source of concern for the government of Canada and for the United States.
You can see remnants of a car, charred metal, and smoke rising into the air. Sources tell ABC News that investigators discovered a suitcase or briefcase on scene, the bomb squad handling the package. Sources also saying the vehicle was seen on surveillance footage, stopped at an initial security checkpoint before speeding up and crashing into the second checkpoint. It's unclear what caused the explosion.
This is an evolving situation. Information is coming into Canadian authorities from their American counterparts, literally minute by minute.
Authorities shutting down the bridge along with others in the area.
We will continue to be engaged. We will provide updates. Updates I can give right now is there are 4 border crossings that are right now closed.
Local law enforcement also placing canine officers on each of the international bridges. Cars being searched at Buffalo Airport out of an abundance of caution.
New York Governor Kathy Hochul is traveling to the area as the investigation continues. Attorney General Merrick Garland has also been briefed. Rena Roy, ABC News, New York.
The pilot of a small plane is dead after it crashed in Plano outside of a shopping center located Tuesday night. A KXAS reports DPS identified the pilot as 87-year-old Monroe McDonald. The NTSB said McDonald was the only person in the plane. The FAA says the pilot was attempting a go-around, an aborted landing attempt in which a plane on final approach instead flies back up. The city of Victoria has called for a special election for mayor set for February 3rd. The city will host an informational session next Tuesday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Just show up at the City Council chambers, 107 West Wan Lin Street. Interested applicants will learn more about the duties of mayor. Jeff Bouknight formally resigned to run for the District 30 House seat. The deadline to file for a place on the ballot is December 4th. The world's busiest airport is having its busiest day ever. The TSA at Atlanta's Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport says workers screened more than 32,000 passengers by 8 this morning. A video on the TSA's Facebook page shows travelers moving through lines swiftly despite the crowd. The airport says checkpoint wait times were just over half an hour during peak hours. And here's your viewer poll tonight. Tell us about your Thanksgiving Day traditions. Do you have a feast at home, a Friendsgiving celebration? Do you volunteer or do charity work? Do you travel to visit family, or do you take part in outdoor activities and events? And the choice that had the most votes, let's see, 56%, is that 58%, having a feast at home. All right, thank you for voting. You can still vote. Just come to crossroadstoday.com/vote. And let's take a first look at your forecast with First Warn Storm Team Chief Meteorologist Mac Pettis. And Mac, for those people who are not quite ready for the big feast and may have to do some traveling, what are you looking at the next 12 hours?
Well, I'll tell you, that 38% was also having to go visit family, not having to, but looking forward to visiting family. So they'll be driving around. Now, today we started off with sun, then all of a sudden it got very cloudy. We've got this system coming up from northern Mexico into our area. What time will the rain begin tomorrow? That's the question. I'll have the answer coming up in a moment. Stay tuned.
Mac, thank you. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's national security advisor says a planned hostage for prisoner swap with Hamas has been delayed until at least Friday. The swap is to take place as part of a 4-day truce that had been expected to begin on Thursday.
Urgent preparations underway for the planned swap of hostages in exchange for Palestinian prisoners. The expected release of 50 hostages, including possibly 3 Americans, from Hamas, now set to begin Friday. According to Israeli officials, a group of women and children, including a 3-year-old, would be released over the course of 4 days, during which Israel has agreed to temporarily pause the fighting in Gaza. In exchange, Israel will free approximately 150 Palestinian women and children detained in Israeli prisons. Before the hostage handover, the IDF advancing into Gaza. ABC News given an inside look at the elaborate tunnel system deep beneath Gaza City's largest hospital. ABC's Matt Gutman touring the tunnel alongside the Israeli Defense Forces.
This is the tunnel. You can see what look like electricity cables here. This, we're told, is for air. We're calling this a really sophisticated tunnel. It's high, it's relatively broad. You can walk standing up. You can see all the outlets for electricity and others.
The IDF claims Hamas operates a command and control center right beneath the hospital. Outside the hospital, Gaza in ruins. As part of the deal to free hostages, the temporary truce will allow aid to get into Gaza, but humanitarian agencies saying this will be a drop in the ocean.
There is so much destruction. How much of it was actually militarily necessary?
I think
because
Israel,
1.5 million aren't going to be able to come back here.
Yeah, Israel is not fighting against the Gazan civilians. It's not fighting it's not fighting in order to create destruction. But when you have an organization that's wages is war from hospital, building tunnels underneath, we have no other alternative. We're going to defeat Hamas.
The IDF still urging residents of Gaza City to evacuate immediately and go to the humanitarian zone in the south. Melissa Adan, ABC News, Los Angeles.
A Michigan man is charged with murdering his wife and tampering with evidence. Lenawee County prosecutors say 53-year-old Dale Warner killed his spouse, Deanne, in April of 2021. His bond is set at $20 million, but it's due for discussion in court Monday. Deanne Warner's body is still missing more than 2 years after she disappeared from her community an hour north of Toledo, Ohio. Investigators say that makes the case harder to put together. Warner was arrested at his home Tuesday. Today, Parkland Health in Dallas opened the John F. Kennedy Park for Hope, Healing, and Heroes. Today marks the 60th anniversary of former President John F. Kennedy's assassination. On November 22, 1963, President Kennedy was in a convertible limousine heading to a sold-out luncheon in Dallas when shots were fired from a 6th-floor window. Kennedy was shot twice. The FBI later found Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone in the shooting. Back home, the Salvation Army of Victoria's Community Thanksgiving Dinner is going back to the future. For the first time in 4 years, the Thanksgiving dinner will be inside the Salvation Army's main office at 1302 North Lewis Street. 450 plates will be served with grilled pork chops topping the menu.
Well, on Thanksgiving Day, we're going to continue our tradition here and feed anyone that wants to come in and sit down and have a meal is welcome to do so.
Delivery is also available. The Salvation Army of Victoria Community Thanksgiving Dinner is from 11 o'clock a.m. to 1 o'clock p.m. Thanksgiving Day. And the community is coming together tomorrow to provide a Thanksgiving feast at the First Baptist Church on North Glass Street in Victoria. 5 to 6 churches joined up to give back to the community. They will be passing out free meals from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. The goal is to serve about 1,500 plates. Organizers want people to come out and sit with their neighbors and let them know that they are loved and that during the holidays they are not forgotten.
There's a big list. Too many people to name, but again, thank you guys. Thanks to all of our sponsors that have made this possible. We couldn't do it without them. Can't do it without God. We can't do it without our people.
Doors open at 10:30 a.m. with the food being served at 11 a.m. If you cannot dine in, then please call 361-894-7206 for deliveries and to-go orders. Next year's goal will be to shoot for 5,000 plates. Free food and soft drinks at a Thanksgiving party in Port Lavaca tomorrow. The party will be at Drifters Hall, 5287 McDonald Road from 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock p.m. A couple of Yoakum residents will be hosting a basketball tournament to collect toys and bikes for Christmas. Philip Washington and Brittany Barnett started this last year and say they just want to give back to the community.
With, this time of year, giving, we know how it feels for families to be struggling with certain things, stuff like that. It's a great feeling to be able to give back to the community.
Yeah.
Everyone who attends the tournament will receive a raffle ticket for the bike and toy prizes. Right now they have 6 bikes and 6 presents, but as more teams enter, more gifts can be raffled off. The tournament is this Saturday starting at 10 a.m. at 202 Dunn Street in Yoakum. They expect at least 8 to 10 teams. The entry fee is $200. Here's some of the top headlines you can read in the Port Lavaca Wave. Calhoun County gets a $275,000 grant for the building of a new first responders training facility. Citizens shared their concerns about the construction of a pier at the Bill Sanders Memorial Park and boat ramp. And almost 50 area children took part in the Port Lavaca Festival of Lights pageant. You can read these stories and more at theportlavacawave.com. Sam Houston State University selected Vanessa Hicks Calloway for the 2023 Distinguished Alumni Award. Hicks Calloway served in the U.S. Army for 26 years. She earned a Bronze Star Medal for her work in 2 separate deployments. Hicks Calloway works to help veterans and their families as a Veteran Service Officer for the Texas Veterans Commission. For more on today's news stories, come to our website, crossroadstoday.com, and you'll find the list of closures by the City of Victoria for Thanksgiving Day and this weekend. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click the notification bell. Then you can see Crossroads Today on YouTube. And stay with us. Coming up on 25 News now at 10. Thanksgiving travelers are still filling up the skies and the roads. Also tonight, Swedish researchers unveil a concerning link between long-term use of ADHD medication and heart disease. Passing through airports and navigating highways to get home for the Thanksgiving holiday. The number of flight delays has been climbing steadily throughout the day as heavy winds and rain sweep through the Northeast.
I thought it would be like this, so I'm actually 3 hours in advance for my flight.
I got here early because I'm slow.
It's pretty crazy, but it could be worse.
Could be worse indeed, given the heavy rainstorms and gusty winds lingering over several Northeast major airline hubs Wednesday, all while more than 55 million people are expected to be on the move by air and highway for the Thanksgiving holiday, according to AAA.
I was looking at the weather and I was kind of worried.
In New England, forecasters say snowfall will be winding down, but not before some inland areas possibly see several inches. And a new storm pushing into the Rockies will dump snow over several states like Montana, Wyoming, and Idaho, where winter alerts could translate into delays for West Coast travelers over the next few days.
The weather always is the key, and then there's air traffic controller shortages, but the weather will be the key. We've been working with the FAA to adjust routes to move things around.
And a heads up for the trip home for many, the Transportation Security Administration estimates nearly 3 million people could come through their airport lines on Sunday, the highest number ever recorded in the TSA's 20-year history, the agency says. Your best bet, go early, get through security, then relax.
I'm just chilling now.
I'm Laura Aguirre reporting.
A new study has found long-term use of ADHD medications can raise the risk of cardiovascular disease. Researchers in Sweden followed the medical records of thousands of individuals with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder for a number of years. They found overall heart disease risk was 23% higher for people who used ADHD medication for more than 5 years compared to those who did not. Doctors commonly prescribe stimulants to treat ADHD, which are known to elevate blood pressure, making the heart work harder. Here's a look at some of the top headlines you'll find in the Cuero Record. The Gobblers had to battle poor sportsmanship recently. The Blue Knights Motorcycle Club hosted a golf tournament, and a DeWitt County history book was reprinted. Read these stories and more at QueroRecord.com.
Well, good evening, everybody. We're down to 49 degrees this morning. We were at 38 in the morning, so we're probably going to stop somewhere around 44. So, yeah, it's going to be a cold night. And today's high was 64. Tomorrow will be about 62. The overnight low of 38. Yeah, that was a little chilly this morning. However, it's going to be milder for Friday and Saturday, and we'll be taking a look at all that and all your travel weather coming up in just a moment. Well, you may not have noticed, but the overcast rolled back in this afternoon, and we're fairly cloudy out there right about now. But what we're watching is this. This is a jet streak coming up from the south. It's the Pacific jet streak. It is going to be giving us a little bit of rain by tomorrow morning. Now, as you can see around the country, the big storm on the East Coast they were talking about is finally moving offshore, so things are going to look better tomorrow along the East Coast. The Midwest is doing well, although there is a snowstorm just coming in into the Great Lakes. The Midwest is doing well, so is the Central Plains. Little frontal system out there coming in to Northern California through Oregon right now. For us, the winds are very quiet now. You know, we had that north wind for a couple of days. It was kind of breezy. Well, that's over with because now the wind is turning back around from the Gulf, and that's why maybe tomorrow we don't warm up, but we will for Friday, Saturday. Looking for about a 44 as an overnight low. Hopefully we don't hit that 38. I think some people kind of got stuck by the cold this morning. Otherwise, we're looking for 60 tomorrow. The problem is, looks a little damp in the morning. Like about 6 o'clock in the morning, the rain that's in the valley should start pushing northbound and getting into our area. So between 6 a.m. and maybe 4 p.m., it's going to be a little damp. By the end of the day, however, it does move away. Now here we are. There you see the last 6 hours of radar. They look like they got some heavier rain down there near Monterey. The Rio Grande Valley is getting rain right now. It's fairly light. I mean, it's not huge, but nonetheless, it's going to be a little sloppy and drizzly as we get into the day. So again, this stuff's going to be here about 6 a.m. through the day, and then by evening it's gone, and that's when we start warming up a little bit by the time we get to Friday. Now, here's a long-term picture. This is 7 days. So we start today. We see that first little rain band move up through the coast. You see it right there. And then for the weekend, we have to start looking at the Rockies because there's a big storm. This is a snowstorm coming out. It's going to break into the plains, and that's when it sucks up all this Gulf moisture up on top of us. This is going to be over the weekend by Saturday night. Saturday night is when the frontal system should be very close to us. By Sunday, we're going to have a north wind blowing through the area. And so Sunday looks wet. Keep that in mind if you're driving, you know, it may be a little slippery out there, but then it does clear up right after that. So I'll show you more in the extended outlook because that'll give you a better idea of when that rain gets here. So let's take a look at your day planner for tomorrow. For those of you, you know, having Thanksgiving tomorrow in Port Lavaca, looking like 51 in the morning, 55 in the afternoon, generally cloudy with some breaks of clouds late in the day. For Cuero, we're looking for 47 in the morning, getting up to 55 in the afternoon. Very calm winds, no problem there. Overcast with a little few showers early in the morning. So here's the 7 days. This will give you a whole week's worth of picture. So a little dampness in the morning for Thursday. More sun for Friday. We start warming up. We get up to Saturday, 70 degrees, but late Saturday night, closer to midnight, the front comes through, and then by Sunday, north wind blows. Our high temperature on Monday is going to be 56. So the only fly in the ointment there is Sunday night when a lot of people do a lot of traveling. We do have expected some rain around this area. That is your 7-day forecast. Reminding everybody we do have a QR code. Love for you to scan that and put Crossroads Today on your phone. Otherwise, have a happy Thanksgiving. We'll see you on the other side. And now let's go to Mr. Gino.
Thanks, Mac. A goal for many is to play through Thanksgiving, and these next teams have made that goal a reality. That's coming up after the break. At Crossroads, we have 9 teams competing in the regional semifinals this week, and no matter what, we will have at least one team moving on since Edna and Industrial are playing against each other this week. But we start with the Cuero Gobblers. The undefeated Mean Green will put their skills to the test Friday against the Jasper Bulldogs. Jasper is 8-4, but has played tough teams like the defending 3A champions in Franklin, Silsbee, Legacy School of Sports and Science, and Hampshire Fannin. Cuero has some history between a couple of those squads. Cuero beat Hampshire Fannin last week 44-33, and a year ago Cuero had a dramatic finish over Silsbee, winning 58-56 in the highest scoring game in Gobbler history. Cuero and Jasper play in Alvin at Freedom Field Friday at 3. The Calhoun Sand Crabs are, on the other hand, the 8-4 team playing against the Alice Coyotes. These two teams met in the first round of playoffs last season, and the Sand Crabs took the W with a 35-6 victory. The Alice team is 10-2 on the year, and the only 2 losses came against teams that are in Class 5A. That's CC Veterans Memorial and Flower Bluff. This game will be played in Seguin at Matador Stadium at 7:30. The link to watch this game is on our website at crossroadstoday.com. The Goliad Tigers and Blanco Panthers have not played each other in some time. Goliad's on an 8-game win streak and coming off a 20-point victory over Hondo. Blanco is coming off a 31-point victory over London, which Goliad beat earlier this season. Blanco and Goliad are both district champions, so this should be a great matchup. These two face off in Seguin at Matador Stadium at 1 o'clock on Friday. The Tidehaven Tigers will look to continue its run through Class 3A Division II. Tidehaven and Rogers played a couple of years ago, and Tidehaven won that one 42-29. Rogers have not lost since week 5 when they lost to a good Class 2A team in the Johnson City Eagles. These two will play just before the sun goes down at 4 o'clock in Cy-Fair at FCU Stadium Friday evening. The Refugio Bobcats have not had a relatively close game in a long time, and maybe Weimar will be that game. The Wildcats are 10-2 and coming off a 28-6 win over La Villa. No one on these two teams have faced off against each other. It'll be a new matchup. The two are heading up to San Antonio and will play at Dub Ferris Athletic Complex Friday night at 7 o'clock. And last but not least, the team playing in round 3, the Ganado Indians, they are taking on the undefeated Holland Hornets. Ganado is coming off a win over Mason, while Holland got a big win over Shiner. Holland has not been past the 3rd round of playoffs in the past 4 years, and the same can be said about the Ganado Indians. The Maroon and White will travel to Brenham Friday night at Club Stadium, and kickoff is at 7 o'clock. And if you'd like to see a list of all the games featuring Crossroads teams, go to our website at crossroadstoday.com for more. Well, that's your sports done. Back to you.
That's a busy Friday coming up with high school football. All right, Gino, thank you. And stay with us. Coming up on 25 News Now at 10. We'll take a last look at your weather. Plus, find out which dogs are best to buy as Christmas gifts. If you're thinking of getting a puppy over the holidays, the Wall Street Journal reports the French Bulldog is the most popular breed right now. But Frenchie puppies are also the most expensive, at an average of $2,800 or more.
Goodness.
The best bark for your buck is a rat terrier or its close cousin, the Jack Russell. They live for 15 years and have lifetime expenses of just over $28,000. The most expensive, the Tibetan Mastiff, which will cost nearly $49,000 to maintain over their 11-year lifetime. Pretty dog, though. Thursday is not just Thanksgiving this year, it's also National Espresso Day. When espresso became popular in the 1880s in Italy, it was just a coffee quickly made for the person ordering it. But now it means a highly concentrated brew served in smaller quantities. And of course, espresso is the base for delicious drinks like lattes, mochas, cappuccinos, macchiatos, and other ones I have trouble pronouncing. No. Are y'all espresso drinkers?
No, not really. I've had it, but not. I've had the Cuban coffee, which is very strong like that.
Oh yeah.
And that'll wake you up, let me tell you.
Now, do we need to drink some coffee? You know, the last two Thanksgivings here have been rainy and chilly and kind of misty.
Well, this one, you know, today was such an exciting thing that all the beautiful sun was out. It was going to be like this all week, but no. In fact, overnight the cloud deck is thickening up. We'll pick up some rain by sunrise, and I think most of the day is going to be a little on the cloudy and damp side. It's only at 20%. It's not a huge rain out, washout, but it'll be a little damp during the day. But then Friday, Saturday does get better. Sunday, the big driving back day, is when we expect the next front with gusty wind and a little rain as well. Don.
All right, Mike, thank you. And finally tonight, the process of inflating the 26 balloons that will be featured in tomorrow's Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade happened today in New York. In all, 49 balloons will take part in the 97th edition of the famous parade. 16 character balloons, including 7 brand new entries, and 33 heritage and novelty balloons. The parade will also feature 26 floats, 12 marching bands, and other musical performances in the parade as millions line the streets to watch, and millions will be freezing to watch it. But it's the Macy's parade, so that'll be fun.
It's always cold.
That's right.
And the storm's finally gone through New York, so they're going to have better weather.
Right. Thanks for joining us. 25 News now at 10. 25 News Now at Sunrise, 5 a.m. Good night. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.